Folks, I appreciate your patience today. Our barbecue food was supposed to come from Good Life on the Bricks, and they had a little bit of car trouble getting here, so they're still en route. There's still barbecue coming, so I appreciate you guys being patient with me. And who's ready for Good Life on the Bricks to open here? Yeah. So, all the more reason you should be patient and grateful that they're bringing us some food. We are blessed today to have a couple of officers from First State Bank who are going to talk to you about virtual money and how we don't deal in dollars and pennies and quarters very much anymore. We do a lot of stuff on our phones, with our watches, with a card, with apps that some of us older folks aren't necessarily comfortable or knowledgeable about. So I'm really grateful that Katie Lauer and Patty Barkmeier are here to talk to us about virtual money. When the rest of our meals come, we will try to quietly deliver them to you so we don't disrupt these folks very much, but they're willing to give us a little bit of break in between. So help me welcome Patty and Katie.
Hello, everybody. So, good afternoon and welcome to the last Power Lunch of 2022. Katie Lauer and myself, we hope that when you leave here today that you understand the many ways to send and receive currency. And we're going to start with checks. A check, a negotiable instrument that is used to pay someone, is pretty much non-existent. Check use is dropping 1.8 billion a year, and at that rate, they should be extinct by 2026. We'd like to blame the disappearance of checks on millennials, but it really comes down to technology becoming better. Most paper checks are written by businesses and governments, and paper checks are also a huge target for fraud. According to the report by Advanced Fraud Solutions, check fraud accounts for 60% of the attempted fraud against financial institutions. The average American still uses a shocking 38 checks a year. Checks that are used for payment will basically clear in one day because everything is local now. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you about checks? Pretty much all checks have lost their float time. So when you give somebody a check and it is deposited, it usually clears in one day, and that check can be turned into an e-check, which is a digital version of a paper check. That leads us into, oops, hang on guys. Well, that leads us into same-day ACHs. So the ACH, Automatic Clearinghouse, is an electronic funds transfer system that's run by NACHA. It is officially established in the mid-70s, and an ACH is to send or request payments. ACH usage is more secure because the many electronic payments, they can be returned if it is fraudulent. ACH is usually inexpensive or free, and the examples of ACHs that are credits would be maybe Social Security, payroll benefits, or insurance reimbursements. Examples of debit ACHs are payments for utilities, maybe your house payment and auto payment, and with recent rule changes, they are enabling most credits and debit transactions through the ACH system to be made the same business day. Same-day ACHs may have a cost associated with them. Whoops. Okay. Which takes us into a wire transfer. That is another form of an electronic payment. Wires are only used for sending payments, and it goes to another banking institution. You have to have available funds to send a wire from your institution.
So next would be like point of sale debit card machines. Two available options for that would be like Square and Clover. Both of those which has a fee that goes to the seller. So some businesses do choose to charge that fee back to their customer. But the options with the Square and Clover would be Mag Strip, which is just like a regular swipe, the chip reader, or there's the contactless pay. This is what Square offers, just for a Mag Strip reader. Super small and simple. They offer this for free. All you have to do is provide the phone or iPad or whatever you use to have the program on it. But then there's other options up to like $800 for their equipment. And then Clover has similar equipment options that range, oh gosh, anywhere from $70 to like $1,600. So it just depends on what you want and how many card readers you need for your business. Some restaurants are going to having that card reader right on your table, so you don't even get a ticket from your waitress anymore. Let's see. And then
Their QR, that's also.
Yep, so then there's also the QR code where there's just that little square code on your table that you scan with your phone, and then you just automatically pay with that as opposed to having any card swipe or reading at all. There is a fee per transaction that's anywhere from like 2 to 3%. If you key in the card number, most businesses do charge you more for that.
There are many different kinds of point of sale machines, and I guess the bigger ones, like you go to Walmart and pay, that is also a point of sale machine where it has the cash register and it has the receipt, everything built right into it, but of course that's a lot more costly than what Katie was talking about. So, when you're talking about point of sale machines, we'll figure out where we are. Whoa. Debit cards. Debit cards became popular in 1998, and they way outnumber the check usage around the world. It's a preference to checks, and it continues to grow every year. Debit cards draw money directly from a person's current transaction account or checking account, and they replace the interest-bearing debt created by the credit card. The person using the debit card can only utilize the money that is actually in their account, and most debit card usage will remove the money immediately from the account when the merchant processing is done. Debit cards can be used to make electronic purchases from websites, online merchants, and pay engines, and a debit card is like handing somebody cash. So once the transaction is made, it's hard to negotiate to the return of funds. I would not recommend using a debit card for anything for future purchases, like a hotel, tickets online, or plane tickets. You may get to that future event and not be able to go, and your money is gone.
So then money was made modern really with touchless pay, contactless pay. Some examples.
I can't figure out what we're doing.
Some examples of that would be Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. Those are things where you set that up on your phone with your existing debit or credit card, and then if you get close enough to someone or to the card machine, it collects your data and then transfers the funds immediately. If you are the merchant and you have a card machine that doesn't currently offer touchless or contactless pay, if you call your servicer, they can upgrade your machine and you can make that option available for your customers. So it allows your smartphones, laptops, tablets, and other devices to share, again, when you're in close proximity. With the Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, those will work anywhere that take the contactless payment, no fees. It honestly replaces your physical cards and cash. The cards that you do load into those, you still get your rewards, whether that be cash back or points or flight credit. Any of those things still apply even though it's not using the actual card. And Apple Pay is actually accepted at over 85% of US retailers, so it is the way everything's going. Not saying they're gonna like get rid of the penny like they've been talking about, but
They need to.
they should.
And when you do have your, I guess, I don't think, nobody can see, but it's a double click on the side of your phone. It registers your face, And then your phone is an active credit card. So when you get close to that machine, it is charging your account for whatever you've purchased. And it pretty much works the same way with your watch. If you have it set up on your phone that you can use your watch, double click on your watch, put the face of the watch to the machine, and it will also pay for your purchase.
And then the one difference between the Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay is just what type of phone you have. Like iPhones use the Apple Pay.
Katie, did you know that 10% of seniors and 20% of baby boomers have ever used a peer-to-peer app? And that percentage jumps to 62% for millennials. 71% think children under 10 will likely never write a check. So Katie's kids will probably never write a check, nor will my grandkids.
Is there anyone here who does not use checks anymore? Can't see
anything.
And then is there anyone here who has not used like a person-to-person payment or used the contactless pay? Okay, so there's some people who haven't.
And when you are actually using that contactless pay, that merchant never sees or gets your card number, whether it be your debit card or your credit card or whatever. They never get it. It becomes just a merchant specific number, and they can see that, but they never actually get your information.
So then there's a couple different options for like person-to-person or bank-to-bank transfers. A bank-to-bank example would be Zelle, and that's instantaneous. If I were to send money through Zelle right now, it would immediately go into that person's bank account. Some of it depends on if it's to a separate bank, then there is some lag time, but where Patty and I bank at the same bank, I can send her $5 and it will immediately go into her account and be available for her to spend. There's no fees associated with that, and the money doesn't go to any kind of intermediary. It's directly through the banks. With Venmo, they hold your money, and there are no fees associated with sending or receiving money, but if you want to cash that money back out to your bank account, you can do it a 1 to 3 day transfer with no fees, or there's an instant transfer with, let's see, it was a 1.75% fee, 25-cent minimum, or a $25 maximum. So you're losing out on money there. When people did cash or checks, you wouldn't lose that money like you would now with those types of options. PayPal is another person-to-person transfer. They also have processing fees that range from 1.9 to 3.5%. And then if you're a merchant, you have those processing fees as well as a fee per swipe. So like a set 10 cents, and then the fees can potentially raise if you are typing in the card number as opposed to doing contactless, swiping it, or using the chip reader. And then there's also the friends and family option on PayPal that's always free.
I just sent you $5, Katie. It's taking a little.
Stinking in this building. There we go. $5. Very quick and easy. Another one that's gotten more popular is Facebook Pay, and there's no fees with that as well. I know on the bank side of things, we've seen a lot of fraud associated with debit cards when they have them in Facebook Pay. So we personally don't recommend that. It's supposed to be fairly secure from what I've read about it. And again, there's no fees, so that's why people like that one. Cash App is very similar fee structure as Venmo. There's just the 1 to 3 day transfer, and then the fees associated with doing an immediate. Cash App does have limits on how much you can send or receive in a 30-day period, but then if you provide them with additional information, they can up that limit for you.
Is there any questions?
what if my bank doesn't belong to Zelle?
So you can create a Zelle account to accept the money into your account, but you would not be able to send money through Zelle.
You know what percentage banks, most banks on Zelle now, or?
It's becoming a lot more popular. It used to just be a lot of really big banks that were a part of it. So banks actually have to pay Zelle to be a part of them, so we don't charge the customer any fee for it. It's the bank that absorbs that fee. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Are you guys done?
We're pretty much done.
Pretty much.
Well, you didn't, you just barely touched on fraud. Could you discuss fraud with some of these products, and which ones are?
These people don't have enough time in their day for fraud.
Everybody hears on the.
Yeah, how much time?
About fraud.
Fraud is on the rampage. We've had brute force attacks that have hit many banks, and it is something that's going to continue. A lot of them are from other countries. It hits debit cards. The person that is doing the fraud, they have a computer system that can run constantly, and it is actually just trying to hit a true or a real card. Once it does, then it will just go in number sequence, and the only thing they have to change or to figure out at that point is the check digit, which is the last digit of your card. There's only 1 through 9, so it's not too tough for the computer to figure out, but these computers run constantly. And once they get a good card, they send through what I call they want to know, one, if the card is good and if there's an account attached to it. So they might run $1, they will credit it back, but then that's just opening it up for whatever they want to charge that account from that point forward. So there's a lot of fraud, I guess, fraud systems out there that banks put in place to help with that. It takes a lot of manpower also to combat the fraud. But there's frauds on checks, there's fraud ACHs, there's fraud on debit cards. One of the big things that they're doing now is trying to manipulate the person or talk the person into giving them their information. They're going into that person's online account or virtual account, and they're setting up payments, ACH payments, or taking their debit card information. So it's never ending, and it's a constant fight for financial institutions at this point.
One thing that I've seen is customers will get a ton of fraud on their account, and if you look back, they had fraud a month ago, but it was $1 went into their account and $1 went out of their account. So they look at that and think, oh, well, it was just a mistake, that wasn't fraud. Well, that's what they want, is to find out, is this an active account, does it have money? And then they wait a while and just start throwing through those large charges. And when we do see those brute force attacks, all of the charges are from the same place and for the exact same amount. So then we reach out to our core company that helps us with our debit cards, and we put a block on those transactions altogether, so then no one else gets it, but by that time, it's usually too late and a lot of people have been hit with the fraud.
And that fraud system that's working in the background is also taking anything that we mark as fraud, or they are getting, it's fraud, or excuse me, it is measured by a number system. So if it is a low number, it's probably low fraud cases. If it runs through this computer and it comes out with a high number, that's more likely to be fraud. So they put a lot of tab rules or stops on those before they ever hit somebody's account. And we also will then call in and put tab rules on the names of those companies. So
if somebody uses these, the Zelle Venmo, the ones you have on the screen right now, and fraud does occur, is the consumer then protected by these companies or the bank or whomever? Is there some insurance in the background, or are you just out?
With Venmo, we recommend you hook it up directly to your bank account because those are transactions that we can return or try and pull back. If it's hooked up to your debit card, like Patty had said earlier, it's like cash, and once it's gone, it's gone. It's possible we can try and get it back, but the chances are pretty low that we will.
Of these 6 that you, or 5 that you have up there, who's the safest that you've seen?
I would say Zelle, because it's bank to bank. So you're not going to send money to somebody you don't know, or I hope you wouldn't, or you wouldn't throw that information out there. So I sent to Katie, I know Katie, it is bank to bank, and
with Zelle to send money, I have to actually put in your phone number or your name or your bank account to find you in there and confirm, like, yes, this is who I want to send it to. Similar to Venmo, how you type in their username, it's a lot less likely to put in the wrong username as it is, or to put in like a phone number wrong with Zelle. Then there's other people with the same username or very similar to mine on Venmo. And I know Venmo also has an option too to put, make people confirm the last 4 of your phone number to confirm that that's really your Venmo. Because again, if I accidentally sent it to the wrong person, that I still sent it to them and I confirmed that I wanted to send it.
And everything on here besides Zelle is a pay engine. So when you put your information out there and you're using that pay engine, you need to, unless you've got your debit card out there, then it goes back on the bank. But I would suggest that nobody put their debit card out there, use a credit card, but that pay engine, then you have to go to Facebook Pay, or you have to go to Venmo, or you have to talk to them if you have a problem. With Zelle, you talk to your bank.
Any other questions?
Random question related to like Facebook Marketplace and some of these pay options as well. My wife and I obviously are locals.
Speak up a little, sorry.
Sorry, we're locals here in Gothenburg. We tend to sell some things on Facebook Marketplace occasionally. And it seems like we get some, I wouldn't say fraudulent, but there's definitely people out there that are trying to get your bank information. And one of the keywords is Zelle. Like they'll use Zelle as a form of payment to try to send you stuff and get your information. And then they in turn try to use it and take your information and take it out of your bank to bank.
So what?
We've always done cash transactions, but I'm curious if you guys have more experience in that or have seen other things like that.
So yeah, we've seen that with a seller on Facebook wants to buy X item from you, and they'll send you more money for shipping. It's similar to people on Craigslist say, oh, put this sticker on your car and I'll pay you $1,500. You get the check and it's $2,500. And they're like, oh, just cash the check and then you send me back $1,000. That's similar to what they want you to do on Zelle, is send them money back. So then you send them money and then they pull back the money they sent you. And because it's likely fraud, they're sending it from someone else's account that isn't the person you're talking to.
I guess what I would like to put out there is nothing in life is free. So if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Don't give anybody your information if you don't know them. I just wouldn't be putting out any kind of information to somebody they didn't know. So it's kind of what I live by.
Patty, you just said Zelle's free. So is it too good to be true, or is
Carl, would you like to stand up and answer that question?
I just want you just really, and I think that's right, you really promoted Zelle. Because it is extremely secure bank to bank, and it is free. So it is one of the few things, again, big banks invested a ton of money to develop Zelle. And so it's a great product for that consumer, for sure.
And once again, you're using your own institution. So I feel like it takes that scare factor out of it.
So I have a question for you. I'm married to someone who carries cash in his wallet for everything that he purchases. Is that still okay? Is cash still king?
I would have to say I've actually been to places that won't take cash. So I've been to Colorado, we were in Vail, I know, 3
Was
months
that
ago,
Pre or post COVID?
post.
Okay,
And,
that made a difference.
and they will not take cash. They did not want to take cash, they would take a card, but, and I don't know too many businesses that still take checks. So, cash is not king in a lot of places.
That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah.
Is your husband here?
Yes, he's back there.
Sorry, I ganged up on you.
Set up your Apple Wallet, set up Venmo.
I mean, credit cards are still good, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and a lot of credit cards now do have that touchless pay. So instead of swiping your card or putting your chip in, you just hold it right up to that machine and it pulls your information. Like if you go back,
Yeah, I don't know how big that is.
that
Yeah, the little chip.
Well, if it has this,
orange sideways Wi-Fi thing.
yeah, or you have Apple Pay or you have Google Pay. And like I said, once again, I will not put my debit card in anything. So that's mine, that's my credit card. And you just double click, put your phone up, your watch up, and it's done.
And one of the things I've seen with those apps on your phone that you can pay with, they're locked by your fingerprint or your face print. So I read several different times, like no face, no finger, like no money. You're not gonna get it.
And you had a question the other day, you had a friend that thought that they had been charged with their watch, but that watch, obviously it has that little button on the side, you have to double click it, so and then it would have actually probably made her look at it. So she was in close enough range, but something had happened where she had pushed the watch or something. It doesn't just randomly pick up your phone. So there's, like I said, credit cards that do that same thing. If you see that little, whatever you call it, that,
Orange sideways Wi-Fi thing.
there you go.
That's very technical.
If you see that orange sideways then all you have to do is take your card and get close to that machine and it will charge your account. So, any other questions?
Thank you, ladies, for your information. And thank you again for being patient with our meals today. We really appreciate having folks serve us lunch, so thank you for being patient. Give our folks a round of applause, and if you have some questions that you would like to talk to them individually, they will stick around for a couple minutes. So thanks for coming today.